So, welcome everyone to yoga therapy on Thursday morning, and this class is a fundraiser for the Lytton First Nation. So I just want to start with an embodied land acknowledgement. So bringing your hands down, inhale, arms at the side, visualizing the radiant sun all around you. And exhale, bringing the hands down the front, and I want you to feel water flowing down all the way to your feet. And when you get to your feet, maybe just take a moment to think about the actual land that you are standing on today, the nation, the peoples. Inhale, breathing in prana energy, breathing in radiance, and exhale, letting go of anything standing in the way of that radiance. When you get to your legs and feet, thinking about the land, the indigenous land that you're standing on today and its peoples. Keep this going in your own timing. So this is another thing I'm going to do in this class a lot, because you all know the practice, you've been with me, is just go into your own pattern. Part of my goal is to encourage home practice. Today you're practicing with me. This is my practice today. So we're a bunch of teachers getting together, or advanced practitioners practicing together. Ujjayi pranayama, constricting the throat on that exhale. And perhaps starting to think about these different centers of cognition, from the head to the heart to the gut. So for the yogis and for all the ancients I've read, the mind is not in the head, it's actually in the heart center or in the gut. As in the Dantian of the Taoist traditions talk a lot about the belly. The yogis talk about the navi point at the belly button center. So try to connect, drop your head, a very brain-bound approach in the West, drop your head into your heart and into your gut and into your legs and into your feet, and feel the land that you're on, moving your cognition out into the land that you're on today. Instead of saying cognition, as yogis, we can say awareness. Bringing your awareness down from your head to your heart, to your gut, maybe to your pelvic floor, your legs, your feet, the land that you're on and its peoples. One more time. I'm bending the knees as I do this, and this helps with working with knee issues, including arthritis. Bringing the hands to the heart. Now that we're in the body a bit, I want to do our Patanjali chant that we're doing to link to Chennai, India. And this is the chant that my teachers from the Krishnamacharya Yoga Mandiram, this is the chant that they do when they start a yoga practice like we're doing today. Okay. I'm going to do call response so you can start to learn it, and I will email it to you. Yogena chittasya, yogena chittasya, padena vacha, Padena vacha balam sharirasya cha balam sharirasya cha Vaidyakena Yopakarotam Pravaram Bunhina Patanjalim Pranjali Pranatosmi Abahu Purushakaram Shankachakra Sitarinam Sahasrashirasam Shwetam Pranamami Patanjalim Srimate Anantaya Nagarajaya Namo Namaha Namo Namaha Namo Namaha. Honor Patanjali, who brought us yoga for healing the mind, Sanskrit grammar for healing the speech, and Ayurveda for healing the body. We salute the great Patanjali. And when you're ready, release the hands. So this class is also honoring the indigenous peoples around the world, including those in India who have brought us this rich cultural and philosophical tradition. Inhale, arms at the side coming up and perhaps coming up onto the toes if you feel ready to do that. And exhale, arms coming down and keeping the legs straight, or you can bend them. Just keep this going. This is the traditional way that we start classes. You can always modify arms front. And you can always modify by bending the knees at the bottom. So just to show it a few modifications. And you can also look down to get some flossing up the upper back, neck, and shoulders. Doing this in your own timing, just showing a few different modifications. And when you're ready, consider staying at the top and breathing. If that's too much, keep it moving. And if you're continuing to move, you could try arms side, one round, arms front the next round. The hands can be together, or you can interlock the fingers, palms facing up. The modification for this, for neck and shoulders, exhale, bring the heels all the way down or part way down, and bring the hands to the top of the head and drop your shoulders down. And then inhale, stretching up from the bottom of the spine up. And exhale. Drop the shoulders. And inhale, feel like you're lengthening the spine. And exhale, release when you're ready. We repeat things 4 to 6 times. It just depends on the length of your breath, how long you're going to be doing that. We're going to move into the side part of the body. So inhale, coming up. I'm going to start classical and then modified. So inhale, coming up. Usually I start with modifications and move to classical, but in your class, I'm going to try to do classical first and then modify. So inhale, coming up, and then exhale, coming to the side. And if you can, you stay on the toes, light, challenging. So heels will probably come down a bit. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, other side. Now put your mind on the part of your body that needs attention. Starting to modify, you can bring the heels down as you come down. You might bring them right at the end and stick the opposite hip out to get into the lower back. Or perhaps drop the bottom arm and bend the top arm to get more into the upper back. And then inhale, center, exhale, other side. So just start moving this in your own way. You all are familiar with this, or most of you. One side might be different than the other. If you've got some scoliosis in your spine, you might work the upper back one side and the lower back on the other side. So keep that in mind. And then perhaps after repeating 4 rounds left to right, I'm mirroring you. You might start to stay on one side if you feel warm enough, otherwise keep it moving. Your space is on the cold side this morning. This pendulating movement is said to be a resource for our nervous system, just pendulating back and forth. The yogis call it samana vayu, this pendulum movement. So staying on one side, and samana means to balance. So I find it really interesting that neurophysiology has now kind of figured out that this movement in the gut, movement in the body affects our nervous system, balances it. You can add a cross of the leg. So if you're on the left foot over. And that gets more into the hip. You can hold opposite elbows. That's more thoracic spine. And then the other side, again, if this is not working, you just keep it moving back and forth or take a break. And if you stick the hip out, you get more into the lower back and hip. Keep drawing the belly in every time you exhale from the pelvic floor up. And when you're ready, coming out and returning to your samsthiti, even standing pose. Hands at the heart. And sometimes it's said, these two hands coming together is linking the left, the right sides, the brain body in unity at the heart. And maybe you have an intention for your practice today or for your day. This is the start of your day, likely. So you can bring that in. And to the heart. All right. So let's warm up. Coming to the back of your mat, bringing your left foot forward, your right foot turned out in a stance length that's comfortable, heel to heel alignment or wider or more narrow. And feeling that little toe side of your back foot rooting down. We're going to do some warrior. We're going to focus on neck and shoulders. So we're going to start by inhaling, bringing the arms up, warrior one, bending the front knee towards the toes. So yes, the knee can go beyond the ankle if that's comfortable for you. Exhale, bringing the hands down halfway and stretching the hands forward. As you inhale, bring the hands to the throat area as you draw the shoulders back and down. Exhale, bring the hands forward. As if someone's pulling them, stretching the back of the shoulders. Now this time, inhale, keep the hands in a namaste position as you bring them to your throat and draw the shoulders down. As you bend that front knee. Exhale, stretching forward. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, starting position. That's one round. Okay, we're going to do that together again with a longer vinyasa. This one's from Chennai. Inhale, bending the front knee, Virabhadrasana, palms together. Exhale, arms forward. Stretch the hands forward, the upper back back. Inhale, bringing the hands, fingertips together at the throat or lower. You can bring them to the heart if that's more comfortable. Drop the shoulders down. Exhale, hands forward. You can look slightly down and stretch the back of the neck as well. hands coming away from you. Inhale, hands in namaste position coming to your throat and drawing the shoulders down. Exhale, release, stretching the hands forward, stretching the upper back. Inhale, Virabhadrasana, warrior. Exhale, starting position. Okay, ready to do it on your own, or you want to keep doing it with me? Not sure. Okay, I'm gonna keep cueing it, and if you want to do your own rhythm, feel free. I'll cue it at least one more time. Inhale, warrior one. We're going to do 4 times total, so maybe I'll just cue it. Exhale, arms halfway down, stretch. Inhale, elbows drawing back, shoulder blades together, fingertips touching, arching the spine. Drop the shoulders down at the end of that inhale. Exhale, hands forward. Nod the chin down, hands away. Inhale, namaste position with the hands, drawing the elbows back, the shoulders back. Drop the shoulders down. Try to keep those palms together as much as possible. Exhale, release forward. Inhale, warrior one. Looking straight forward classically. And exhale, release. That is a lot of work, eh? One more on your own if you can, okay? When you finish, step back to Samastiti at the back of your mat. Nice long breathing, good job. You seem to be in rhythm. So you might notice your right calf is very sore right now because that's a lot of work. Right foot forward, left foot turned out. So feel free to take a little stretch in between if your legs are screaming at you. Okay, same thing this side. So I'm going to cue 1 just to make sure in case there were any questions, and then we'll do it together. Inhale, warrior 1. Exhale, arms forward, stretch the upper back. Draw the belly in from the pelvic floor up, chin down. Inhale, fingertips together, elbows back, shoulder blades together, drop the shoulders down, look forward. Exhale, stretching the upper back, straightening the front leg. Pull up from the pelvic floor up, tuck the chin in. Inhale, namaste position, bringing the hands to the throat, elbows up, drop the shoulders. Exhale, forward. Inhale, warrior 1. And the chin locked in, Jalandhara Bandha, that's the classical. Exhale, release. Meaning the classical in the latter part of Krishnamacharya's work, so that's how he taught in the latter part of his life. Keep this going, 3 more rounds on your own. When you're done, come to Samastiti at the end of your mat. Remember those pauses between inhale and exhale. Start to exhale before you start to move. Pull up from the pelvic floor to the belly button. Start to inhale before you start to move. Inhale from the chest to the belly. And when you're finished, just taking a break in samsthiti. Bringing your hands to that nabi point, the belly button. I often do yoni mudra here as the fingertips point down, and it's a nice way to connect the three lower chakras together, I find. Connect to the millions of neurons in this area, this enteric nervous system of the gut that connects to the heart and to the brain, up and down. The health of your gut often affecting your mental, emotional health as well. Having opened up the chest this time of year in the spring, we're going to do a little bit of Kapalabhati, a breath of fire. And you're welcome to do this seated if you prefer, but you can do it standing. I'm going to do it standing today. You're just going to draw the belly in and inhale, expand. Exhale, Inhale, expand, and just keep this going in your own timing. Feel free to blow your nose. Focus your mind on the exhale. The inhale will happen naturally. Doing 12 to 24 blasts. And when you're ready, you're going to inhale, bring your arms up, palms together. And do the same thing in this position, if it's comfortable, or you could bring your hands on top of your head if it's too much. Try to do 24. Inhale up. Exhale. This time, bring your hands on top of your head, or if you can, crossing your hands behind. If this doesn't hurt your neck, you could touch the opposite shoulders, or hands behind your head. This feels better for my neck. So that's the version I'm going to do. And when you're ready, inhale, arms up. You can interlock the fingers. And exhale, arms coming down. And notice how you feel. We're going to further remove the ama from the system, or the malas, the mental malas, the toxicity, by doing a forward bend with chanting. Inhale, arms coming up at the sides. I'm going to face east for this. I invite you to do the same in your space. You don't really need to look at me too much. Inhale, arms at the side, radiating like the sun. And exhale, hands through the center, chanting Om. You'd be a bit lazy with the body. I want you to focus more on the gut drawing in. Inhale, coming up, arms at the sides, radiating like the sun, and focus on the bhavana, the visualization, the felt, sensed visualization. Forward. Inhale, coming up, radiating like the sun. If you like, as you exhale, visualizing a waterfall coming down, cleansing your system of all the toxins of mind and body. Inhale, heating up with the radiance of the sun. We're going to add Om Namo. Sounds like this. Om Namo. We're going to take a break between those two parts. Inhale, stretching the arms up. Start to exhale, pelvic floor all the way to your chest. Om. Halfway. Hands to the heart, and then Namo. Namo. Bend your knees at the bottom, of course. Inhale, arms at the sides, radiating like the sun. Perhaps chin in, Jalandhara Bandha. Namo. Inhale, coming up. We're going to do 3 more. The last one is Om Namo Namaha. Sounds like this. Om Namo Namaha. During that ha, draw the belly in like a Palabhati. Inhale, arms up. And 3 steps, 3 kramas. Om Namo Namaha. And just stay at the bottom now and breathe. If you like, adding some sthiti, inhale, lifting the chest. Exhale, lengthening forward. Belly on the thighs, and then releasing the head down. And when you're ready, coming up. And 1 more Om Namo Namaha, bringing it to 8. Om Namo Namaha. Staying here, excuse me. Inhale, lengthening, exhale, or bending, or just staying in the pose. Just see how your body's feeling, how warm you are. You're welcome to hold the big toes as you do this. This pose is called Uttanasana. We're doing a Padangusthasana version, holding the toes. Maybe staying in the full pose. Doing that semi-inversion, head lower than the heart. And when you're ready, starting to come up. Just standing in your samastiti, perhaps hands at the heart. If you prefer, you can cross your hands over the heart. Hold the heart in a different way, the metaphorical heart at the center, where the ancient peoples believed the mind was our awareness. Yogis often speak to connect to the soul or the source of this awareness. It's good to focus on the heart right at the center here. This is an access point, a gate to that awareness. Bowing the head to that. Perhaps remember your intention for today. So, must be springtime because I seem to be teaching a lot of forward bends this week, which is a good way to get rid of stuff once you've heated the body. So we're going to do it through a vinyasa. This is a series that was taught to Sri Vasta Ramaswamy called Ding Namaskaram. Well, Siri seems to be saying something. I hope it's an issue. Okay, good. I turned her off. I don't know what happened with that. All right, so it's linking or honoring the 7 directions. Okay, so I'm going to do it with you, and make sure you've got some room to move in 7 directions. So we're going to do the 4 regular directions, and then we're going to honor the upper direction, the lower direction, and the intermediate direction. I'll cue it, and we'll do a couple of rounds so you get to learn it. And I'm modifying it slightly. So inhale, arms coming up. And exhale, we're going to come forward, and you come halfway forward, drawing the belly in, palms together. And this is honoring the east. So I'm starting facing the east. Inhale, coming up. You can interlock the fingers and move to the other side as you exhale. Inhale, reaching up. Palms together, and you could look up. Exhale, connecting to the south. Draw the belly in. Inhale, coming up, you can interlock the fingers. Exhale to the other side, moving to the right, facing west. Keep going in a circle. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, honoring the west. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, turning to the north, to your right. Inhale, palms together. And you can look forward or you can look up. Classical is actually looking forward, slightly down. Exhale, draw the belly in, honoring the north. Just halfway down. Inhale, interlock the fingers, coming up. Exhale, coming to your right, back to the east direction. Palms together. Inhale, look up, honoring the upper direction. And exhale, right away, come forward, honoring the lower direction. Inhale, coming all the way up, interlock the fingers. Exhale, honoring the intermediate direction. So in this one, the palms are facing up. And arms up the sides. So the intermediate direction. Inhale, coming up. Interlock the fingers. Exhale, starting position. Hands at the heart. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Eventually, we're going to add Om Namo to each of those. We might try that actually today. Inhale, palms together overhead, chin down, facing east. Exhale, honoring the east. Om Namo. So honoring the devas, the entities, the beings in the east. Exhale, turning to the south as you exhale. Inhale, Palms together, chin down. Exhale, honoring the self. Om Namo. Just halfway down. Inhale, coming up. Interlock the fingers. Exhale, turning to your right, towards the west. Inhale, palms together, chin in. Om Namo. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, turning to your right, towards the north. Inhale, palms together, up. Exhale, forward. Om Namo. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, back to the east. Inhale, palms together, looking up, honoring the upper direction. Exhale, forward bend, honoring the lower direction. Om Namo. Inhale, coming up, interlock those fingers. Exhale, intermediate direction, palms facing up. Om Namo. Inhale, coming up. Palms together. Exhale, hands at the heart. Om Shanti together. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And we're going to gradually come down to the ground. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, left leg back. Arms up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, right leg back. Arms up. Exhale, child's pose. In this position, coming to the left and then to the right, just stretching the side body. Feel free to bring the knees apart, feet together. All right, Chakravartasana. Lean onto your hands and knees in tabletop. As we say in the West, inhale, lift the chest, Chakravartasana. Exhale, bring the chin in as you draw the pelvic floor in and up to the belly button. At the end of the exhale, rounding the lower back and coming all the way back. Inhale, Chakravartasana, lifting the chest and the head right at the end. Exhale, pelvic floor in as the chin comes down. And then the rest of the spine rounds and you come back. Feel free to add legs to this. Inhale, coming up. Left and right leg. Make sure you've got room. You can use actually the wall behind you for support. Exhale, coming back into your child. Leg comes down and then you come into your child. Inhale, extending. The head moves last and first. Exhale, head moves first as the pelvic floor draws in, containing the apana and udana vayus at the same time. Towards the center, exhale, everything draws in. And one more round. Just finishing your last time, using the leg or not. And staying in your child's pose, it might feel a bit different after having done that movement. Now you can do Chakravakasana again, or if it's in your practice, going to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. You can keep the knees on the ground, or you can tuck the toes underneath. It gives a little bit more connection through the lower back, but it's also more weight on the wrists. So just be careful. I'm going to just do an easier version today. Exhale, coming back. Inhale, coming forward. It's going to heat up the body just a little bit more before we go on to the back. Now the fingers can be together. It's classical modification. You can spread the fingers apart. You can face the wrists out. Adding downward facing dog to this vinyasa if that's in your practice. Otherwise, just go back and forth. And you can stay in the Adho Mukha Svanasana if you like for a breath or two. Stretch the calves. That's helpful for you. Keep drawing the belly in from the pelvic floor up. Let's do this around 3 rounds. When you're done, just stay in your child's pose when you feel warm enough. Three to 4 times. And when you do that exhale for the down dog, try to bring the chin in as you draw the pelvic floor in. They teach the same thing in Ashtanga Vinyasa, that movement, that chin lock, as you do the pelvic floor lock. But I was thinking about it, and it's connects to the idea of the vayus. So the chin is Udana Vayu, and when you lock it, it leads to apana, it leads to a downward flow of energy. So it makes sense to lock the pelvic floor and the chin at the same time to bring the energy to the center of the container. When you're finished, just stay here and rest in child's pose and feeling ready, flipping, head staying on the same side of your mat if that works for your space, and turning your body to lie down. All right. So that's an hour in. You probably feel like you could finish your practice now, but we are going to do another 30 minutes. We're not going to do too much on our back. We're going to try to move to seated as soon as possible. And yeah, for seeing me, if you want to turn the other way, you don't have to be a classical hardcore. You can be practical. So feel free to to lie in a position that is practical. At some point, we have to always be practical. All right, so we're going to move into Tadaka Mudra, which I always like to start with because it's like Samastiti. You guys can see me okay, I think. So inhale. Have enough room to point your toes. Inhale, arms coming up overhead, Tadaka Mudra. And I'm just going to move my mat for a sec so I can crack into my wall. Exhale, arms coming down by your sides. Inhale, arms up, pointing the toes. This is for the knees, I'm doing this. Exhale, flex the toes towards the nose. Pull up on the thighs. Inhale, point the toes, arms coming up. Exhale, flex the toes to the nose. Now, if you want to add on, if you've got blocks around or a blanket or pillow, you can put something under your thighs or under your knees and keep your feet off the ground the whole time, your lower legs, calves, and this makes it usually harder. So this really, I created this based on something my teachers teach in Chennai to up the ante of this pose. And whenever my old left knee injury acts up from my dance training, got an old injury, whenever it acts up, I just go back to this and stretching of the thighs and stretching of the hamstrings. It usually realigns everything fairly quickly. This one is for strength. And it's also lubricating that knee joint. It's also working the feet. Nice one to do with toe spreaders, actually. You can also put a belt around your toes and press out into it like a loop and press out into the belt if your feet don't align well. Some of you know that from your private practices with me. And when you feel that you've had enough, take a rest for a moment. Hopefully you're feeling that around the muscles of the knees. Okay, we're going to take it up from the legs into the core. I'm going to remove that prop. For this one, you might want to fold your mat in half if you have a floor, not a carpet, to move your legs along, but you don't have to. I did this yesterday in my Garden Bay class, and they just did it on their mats and they were fine. We're going to draw one leg at a time. So this is also inspired by Sri Vaster Ramaswamy's teachings on āsana. It's super interesting. So exhale, you're going to draw your left leg in, or your right leg, if you like, into your chest. So he calls this Ekapada Apanasana, which is pretty interesting. Inhale, extend out. Now I'm adding the Tadaka Mudra. You don't have to add the arms up on the inhale. They could be by your sides. Exhale, draw the other leg in. Now try to use the pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, and draw the leg in. So this is working the knee. And then at the end, we work the lower back, which is usually good for all of us, and the opposite hip. So just a wonderful basic stretch. This is for the gardeners in the room today. Lots of gardening going on. Lots of lower backs and legs working hard. Exhale. Pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, draw, drag that heel in. Drag it, drag it, drag it. Right at the end, draw the knee in and get that apana vayu working. Super simple, but really lovely. You can modify by having the opposite knee bent, just as a reminder to the teachers. It's a slightly different vinyasa. Exhale, drawing the other leg in. Try to use the core strength to move the leg. It's also great for constipation or just getting things moving in the morning. Now, if you want to add on full apanasana, so that was ekapada, both legs drawing in. So draw both heels in, and this is so engaging for the core. I don't know if you can feel that, but if you do it nice and slowly, you feel pelvic floor and the lower abdominals probably shaking. I encourage you just to bring your hands at the sides for this version, just to really use the apana to draw the knees in rather than the hands, but you could add the hands at the end. That feels good on your lower back. So sometimes I do that. And then inhale, do the opposite. Place your heels down and then extend them out and stretch from the toes to the fingertips, both sides of the body, arching the spine. Start to exhale. Lower back starts drawing into the floor. Start to draw the heels in, using your core strength. Keep drawing in from the pelvic floor to the belly button. And at the end, add the hands if you like. Do this a few more times on your own. This is the full pose. So this is what Srivastava Ramaswamy calls apanasana without the upper arm movement that I'm adding. So I'm combining Tadaka Mudra and apanasana. And I just love this version because it really connects with what I call the mula line that goes through the legs and feet. That whole lower half of our body is our root. And as the gardeners in the room know, I think you're all gardeners actually, without a good root system, plants do not thrive. And what is the soil that you are rooted in? What is the soil of your life that's feeding your root? You need to add a little bit of fertilizer to that soil. So you need to add something to your life experience through your food, of course, through your relationships, through your service to the world. You need to add something to nourish your root. When you're finished, you just hug your knees into your chest. I think I could do that probably for about 30 minutes, but I won't do that to you. You're probably done. Okay, so just take a little break for a moment. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring the mat back. And we're going to work on Dvipadipedam bridge pose. And for this one, I'm going to invite you to take a block, put it between your legs. You can also use a pillow. I find actually pillows work really well for this. We're just going to start by exhaling, pressing into the block again, connecting to that mula, that root. And this is great for the knees and the pelvic floor. So as we age, I think all of us here today are in that age group. Usually there starts to be a loosening of the pelvic floor. So this is a great one just to wake that up. Exhale. Squeeze that block and inhale, release. So I'm going to get you to breathe actually in a different way. Draw the belly button in, the lower belly in, the pelvic floor, and then breathe down into your feet. Inhale, expand the belly. Exhale, belly button in, lower belly, pelvic floor. Squeeze the block. Feel the feet. Hold after exhale. 1, 2, 3. Inhale, expand. Release the belly. Exhale, breathing down. Belly button in. Lower belly. Pelvic floor. Squeeze the block. Feel the feet. You can do that in all those steps, those prāṇas, or one long breath. Inhale. Do this another few times on your own, just breathing down, finding your root. And release. I'm going to take a belt. If you don't have one, that's fine. You can also use a scarf or nothing. You don't have to have this prop. I'm going to put this on the thighs. Now, some of you who really are weak in the inner thighs, you can add the block as well. But I'm going to be working more on a hip opening now. Prepare for sitting. So we're getting to that part of the class. So feet hip width apart or even wider. The wider, the more hip groin opening you're going to get. So you're going to inhale, lift the hips up and press into the belt, and you'll feel an opening here in the groin as you do this. And you'll also feel your glute medius working, which is kind of interesting. And your lower back, I find it gets into the SI joints a bit more than other versions of this pose. So anyway, you'll have your own experience, but I think it's good to change it up, not always pressing into the block. Exhale, coming down. But if the block version feels better, feel free to add that between the thighs with the belt or without. Inhale, lifting up and press into the belt. And again, the wider the feet, the bigger the effect you're going to feel this on the hips. I'm just doing this to open the hips. Exhale down. Now you can keep going up and down like this, or adding on. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, stay. Draw the belly in as you exhale. Release that pressing into the belt. Inhale, it's on the inhale you press into the belt. Inhale, lift the toes up and press into the belt, and see if you can lift even higher and open that groin even more, and you'll feel those little hip muscles working. The glute medius are doing a big job right now. And then exhale, release the heels down. You could come down all the way, or I'm just going to keep going. Inhale, up on the toes, press out into the belt. Palms could be down or up, your choice. Hands on your shoulders. Exhale, coming down. Mine always like palms up, but that's my shoulders. Classical always palms down for stability. Inhale, lift the hips up, come up on the toes, press out into the belt. Exhale, release part way down, or you could go all the way down. Inhale, up on the toes, press out. Just lift as high as you can. Exhale, heels down. Inhale, just lift the hips up, don't come up on the toes, press out into the belt. And exhale, roll the spine down. So, using a prop or a belt for the hands on a part of the body, it's a way of directing the prana to that area, directing your focus by having something there, and it brings your cognition, your awareness into that part of your body. As a counter, we're just going to do Jatra Padavriti, simple windshield wiper version. Exhale side, inhale center. Just do this in your own timing. Center, exhale side. Do it with your own breath pattern. Notice the effect on the opposite shoulder. So you go side to side, so you might be feeling it more there than in your legs. If that's the case, you can put your mind there. Otherwise, if your area is for the thighs, you can put your mind there. If your area is more the lower back, you can put your mind there. So change your bhavana, your felt sense of the pose according to where your body needs that extra prana. Prana flows where attention goes. And this is a technique that my teacher, Mr. Sridhar, uses very much in yoga therapy. When you feel complete, bring your knees to your chest and just let them stay there for a moment. Or you can move in and out of the pose if you prefer. Turning to the right side if that's comfortable, the left side up. This is your receptive side, coming to a seated position. So I don't do too much shavasana in the morning because I'm trying to reduce the tamas in the system. So we often end in our tradition in seated poses so that we move into prāṇāyāma from there. You might want to add a layer. You might be getting a little bit chilly. Get my heat up a bit. Anyway, okay. Okay, so just going to start with actually extending the legs. This is what I've been doing in my own practice, and I'll just guide you through this. This is for someone like me with tighter hips. I know some of you are not like me, but if you have tighter hips, this vinyasa will help, I hope. So with the legs apart, Utthita Vista Konasana. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale, coming towards your left leg. And you could always bend the knees if you need to. Inhale, arms coming up. Exhale to the right leg. So I'm mirroring for you. Inhale, arms coming up. This is said to be wonderful for women's health. Exhale, forward bend. So Krishnacharya, in one of his first books, he talked about this pose for women's health. Inhale, coming up. You're just going to keep this going. So side, side, and front. After repeating 4 to 6 times, you're going to stay. So try for 4 times, 4 rounds, that is. Left, right, center, that's 1 round. Remember all the breathing technique pieces. When you inhale, move the arms first in line with the ears and come up if you can. You can always have a bolster or a block in front or a pillow that you come to if you feel too far away from the floor. So for me, all of these poses are very challenging because of my hips. So you can certainly add a bolster in front. So after doing at least 4 rounds, you can stay, or if you don't want to stay, you can keep it moving. If you're feeling cold, for example, and you want to keep some movement going. And when you stay, you can add a sthiti. Inhale, lengthen the spine, exhale, forward fold. This one also actually should be quite good for gardening, I think. And for the teachers in the room, this is one seated pose that I find even people who have a hard time with seated poses, sometimes they can do this one because we're not dealing with knee issues and, you know, bending the legs, and the hips are not being forced into an external rotation, and a lot of advantages. If you're on one side, maybe switch to the other side. Notice discrepancies between sides, and notice how your lower back gets stretched one side at a time as you do this forward bend to the side. So, for example, when you're going to the left, the right side of the lower back is being stretched. And just coming to the center, if that works for you. And again, you could add a block underneath your forehead, underneath your belly, a bolster. You could hold the big toes. Inhale, sthiti, lengthen the spine. Exhale, keep that length as you come forward and draw the belly in. That can be very helpful. I sometimes like to just hold the soles of the feet. Really draw the belly in as you exhale. And this is the full pose. It's usually taught with the hands in front. You could do that. I get more out of it by holding my feet. And when you've done at least 4 breaths there, coming up to Baddha Konasana. I think I taught this last week, so I'm going to teach you my Martha Graham inspired version of this from my 20s when I was obsessed with Martha Graham dance. And I think it was because it was all about the breath and contraction and lengthening of the spine, which is very yogic. Exhale, draw the belly in from the pelvic floor up and bring the chin in. So that's that connection of the Mula Bandha with the Jalandhara Bandha, that chin lock, and the Uddiyana Bandha. So let's just try that again. Inhale, lengthen the spine. You can be sitting on a block or not. You can have blocks under your hips too. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chin lock. And inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chin lock. At the end of the exhale, see if you can come forward a little bit or what. Always bring your heels forward to come down a bit further. Inhale, lengthen the spine and come up to seated. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chin lock. At the end of the exhale, come down. Inhale, lengthen the spine and come up with a long spine. And again, exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chin lock. End of exhale, come forward. Inhale, lengthening the upper back, middle back, lower back, and then come up. Yes, beautiful. Last time, we're going to stay down if it's comfortable, or you can keep it moving. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chin lock. Hold after exhale, come forward. And just stay here and breathe. And again, you might want to add a prop or two to put your head on if you're like me and you're tight in your hips. I find this pose extremely helpful for stretching my lower back in ways that no other pose gets into. It may be too intense for you. You can always do this lying on the floor and just opening the hips, Supta Baddha Konasana. Another pose for women's health, and actually men as well, for reproductive health for both men and women. Just notice where you're feeling this pose. Are you feeling a big stretch in one side of your lower back or the other, one hip or the other? When you're ready, coming up. And hopefully, having done all of that, you'll be able to sit in at least Sukhasana comfortably. If not, feel free to sit on a chair or sit in diamond pose, any position where your spine is straight. Okay, so I always, because right now I'm reminded of an old knee injury, so it's been actually reminding me how to teach this for knee problems. I like to put my feet under the knees. This is from Iyengar yoga. You cross like something like this, and then the feet prop each knee to create some comfort. Anyway, pick whatever works for you, but whatever your Sukhasana is, or another cross-legged position if that works. You can also sit like this if your knees are hurting. Okay, so one of you with some knee stuff, you might be more comfortable sitting like that. And I might join you. Okay, so we're going to end just a little bit of pranayama today. So inhale, Ujjayi. The chin is slightly down. Exhale, Mrigi Mudra. Exhale through your left nostril and mirroring. Hold after exhale. 1, 2. Inhale, Ujjayi. I'm going to switch hands with my Mrigi Mudra each time. Exhale through your right nostril. Hold after exhale. 1, 2. Keep this going in your own time. This is called Anuloma Ujjayi Pranayama. It's working on the exhale. Anuloma means with the grain, with the grain. The air moves with the hairs in your nostrils with the grain on that exhale. This is for removing toxins of mind and body. You can increase that hold to half the length of your exhale or the same length. And just one more round. This to remove congestion in the head, sinus problems. When you're ready, just bring your hands to your heart. We're going to close with Om Shanti 3 times. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. Namaste.